Hello fellow cartoon fanatics, it's Kelly back for Cartoon Universe, and I know it's been a really long time and I'm so excited to be collaborating again with them and making videos. Right now is such an exciting time for cartoons. I hope you all agree. We have Infinity Train, we have the Owl House, we have She-Ra, we have so many amazing cool shows now that are just breaking boundaries and being so different. And the biggest news we have in the Steven Universe world is of course about the brand new movie, which is going to be coming out any second, so soon. September is right around the corner. That's crazy. I'm sure you guys are all freaking out. I mean, at least I'm freaking out. In a good way. The best way possible. So recently there has been a big leak that has revealed the name of the movie villain, which we have all been speculating and trying to figure out since we saw this villain, and it's Spinel? Spinel. Okay. I think many of us were surprised by that. I am going to admit that that was not a name that was on my list. I wouldn't have even thought about that. But I decided, since I don't know much about Spinel, the gem itself, to do some research and go over some basic Spinel facts with you. After I do that, I want to talk about some theories I have that could help us kind of put a finger on what kind of gem this might be, what her origins might be, based on all of the evidence that we have in the trailer. We don't have a ton of evidence yet about this gem, but we do have some things to go off of, and I want to pay attention to that and kind of be detectives with you guys and gather up everything we can until we see another promo for the movie. So since we now know the gem name, that's the perfect place to start. Basically, Spinels usually resemble rubies, and back in the 19th century, they were usually mistaken for rubies. One very important spinel that there is out there is actually the ruby, quote unquote, in the center of the Royal Crown of England, called the Black Princess Ruby. Well, in the 19th century, it was actually discovered that this was not a ruby at all, but indeed a spinel. That's kind of interesting. Everyone thought it was a ruby, but it was actually a spinel. Could this gem possibly deserve more credit than she's being given? Well, further facts on spinel gems might prove so. Pure spinel itself is considered colorless, but the most valuable type of spinel is a deep blood red. There's other variations of colors though as well. Colors rose to pink, lavender to deep red, light blue, orange, and yellow. They're all considered beautiful gems, but the most coveted version of a spinel is one that's colored deep blood red. And if any gem is out for blood, it seems it might be this one. The most interesting fact that I found about spinel is that red spinel is actually considered rarer than a ruby, but it costs 30% less than an actual ruby. So spinels deserve more appreciation than they get. They are actually a lot more rare, but aren't considered of the same value despite their rareness. Now this is an interesting fact we could take into account when we look at this villain. She is so angry, so just out to get everyone, and she just does not seem like a happy gem. Maybe she has not been treated fairly or in a way that she deserved to be treated. And from what I've read about these Spinels, it seems like Spinel is given a bum rap, and it looks like this villain is feeling the same way. So now let's dig into what we've learned from the trailer about Spinel. One thing about Spinel is her design, which I think is so interesting. It's different than any gem we've ever seen. She's very cartoony. People are calling her, you know, Rubber Hose Arm Gem, Betty Spaghetti Gem. It's all in good fun, but we have never seen a gem in Steven Universe move quite the way that she moves. One thing that stood out to me when I watched the trailer was that she's very reminiscent of old school cartoons with the noodle arms way of animation. In old Mickey Mouse cartoons we see this, and I'm talking like the really old ones from way ahead of our time. And she kind of moves like this. I think at one point she stretches her arm and it forms sort of like a mallet, which is definitely something that cartoon characters will use in old school cartoons as sort of a comic relief comedy gag. So if she has a mallet as a weapon, that's very old school. You can see that her pants almost look like sort of pantaloons, similar to like the Mickey Mouse shorts. She has like these oversized shoes, very clown-like in appearance, but to me, it was just, I could not get over the old school cartoony vibes that this character was giving off the whole time I was watching the trailer. And she also has gloves, again, Mickey Mouse comparison, and it just made me think about when I made a video for this channel a while ago about White Diamond and what we could think about her from her design when she was first revealed, White Diamond looked very much like she was from an old school black and white movie. She was very glamorous. She sort of had like the pin-up epitome of perfection woman look going on. This gem is also old school, but in a different way, and perhaps even an older way. The way this gem behaves like an old cartoon, moves like an old cartoon. Could we argue that this gem Spinel is maybe even more ancient than White Diamond? Could she be a gem that was forgotten about, that deserved better but was abandoned or overlooked? Knowing now what we know about Spinel, and how it's actually a pretty rare and valuable gem, but it isn't given enough credit, this could very well be the case with the gem in this movie. Another thing I want to bring up is that this gem is unlike any other gem that we've seen because of her personality that we know of so far. This gem is furious. I don't think throughout the show we've ever seen a gem be just so bonkers crazy. She's so angry. The entire trailer, she's just attacking Steven, attacking the gems. Steven says she wants to, you know, get rid of him. And she is just nonstop throwing punches, going at it. There's no talking, there's no debating, there's no standing in an intimidating manner like the diamonds would do. She is just full force going off on the gems. She wants to fight. She wants there to be a battle. And yes, we've met some intimidating gems. For instance, Jasper was pretty intimidating. She was big and she would not turn down a fight. I would say Holly Blue was a little intimidating, but we have never met a gem that was just totally off the hinges like this. And it further makes me think, is this a gem from a different time period where things were different and the structural society of Homeworld didn't really exist yet? Things were more loose-based. You could kind of just be a wild cannon and go off and do what you want, because this gem doesn't seem to live by any rules. And I don't remember seeing any gems on Homeworld going ballistic like this when they were upset. They very rarely lost their composure. It almost seemed like it would just be really frowned down upon to lose your composure on Homeworld. So seeing a gem just go completely off the hinges like this, where is she from? Is she connected to Homeworld? Was she ever on Homeworld? Or is she from somewhere totally new? Based on her design appearance too, looking so different from the other gems, I would say maybe she's from somewhere we've never seen before, or maybe she's a forgotten gem from a different time period and she traveled back in time and she's here to get her revenge. These are all possible theories. The other thing we want to look at is obviously what is her motive. We know she's coming down to the earth with that big cannon and probably wants to destroy it. We don't know why. We could take our guesses. A lot of you have been guessing maybe she's trying to create a new diamond. If this is the case, then maybe if she does succeed in this, the new diamond will be Steven Universe's new enemy. I mean, the Crewniverse is saying that the show is taking a completely new turn from here on out. It's not going to be the same show, so we're expecting to see some new villains because the diamonds are redeemed. We don't know what to expect now. We need some kind of a force or there's going to be no conflict. But what she's doing with this machine, I'm not completely sure. It's some kind of revenge plan to get back at Steven, clearly, and it looks like towards the end of the trailer she is succeeding. The whole world looks like it's dying and it's very unsettling. So how will the gems defeat this crazy gem? I don't know. But in terms of figuring out her motive, there's another evidence, despite the fact that we have her name is Spinel, is that her gem is upside down. It's a heart gem. Usually heart gems are not placed upside down like that whenever you have them in a necklace or a piece of jewelry. And maybe this is more proof that this gem is flawed or mistreated. So that brings up one of two questions. Could this gem be just completely misunderstood and just trying to get revenge and it's to the point where she's so off the hinges she's irredeemable? Or the fact that she was misunderstood, Steven will let her know, you deserve to be appreciated, you deserve to be loved for who you are, you got the bum rap, we'll appreciate you, we'll love you, you don't need to feel misunderstood, and then it ends in a classic Steven speech. I mean, it could go one of two ways. I was thinking this villain seemed irredeemable, but after doing some research on Spinel, it looks like Spinel is a misunderstood gemstone in its own right. So that could very much apply to this character. And the other thing is the character being old schooly, old cartoony. I think this character is probably very old school in her ways. I think maybe she is not a modern thinker and she's coming from some other time period, some area of the past, and she's coming back to try to enforce her rule and enforce what she believes because she does not like the changes that Steven's made and she does not like what he's doing. And and I think a lot of people are feeling in the same boat about that. But I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of my theories about her origins based on her design, based on the way she moves, based on what we've learned now about the gem Spinel, and I'm so excited to see this movie. I think it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see what the Creativerse come up with. So comment below, let me know, what do you think about Spinel? What do you think her plan could be? Do you think she's going to be redeemed, or do you think we're finally going to have an irredeemable villain for Steven Universe? Which would be quite the game changer, I think. Comment below all your ideas and theories and thoughts, and I'm so excited, and I'll see you guys next time on Cartoon Universe.